Welcome back to Healthy with Nicole. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the scary truth about fiber. Well, some people have heard that fiber is amazing for you, and I believe the RDA for fiber is like 25 grams a day. There are some good things about fiber, like being able to pull toxins from the gut, specifically extra estrogens that need to be flushed out from the colon. But for people with inflammatory bowel conditions, fiber is a no-no. The reason is we are just not able to break it down. So a couple of things happen when we eat fiber. We're really not designed to do it. So you may look at like animals do grass, right? Cows eat grass, lambs eat grass, and other animals that have rumens or a special stomach capacity for those kind of fibers, they graze on grass and greens. Humans, we do not have a rumen, we don't have the capacity to break down cellulose, and so when we eat them, what happens is they tend to ferment in the gut. And in the gut, they can also scratch the gut lining, which invites endotoxins to go from the gut into the bloodstream, which they can cause serious health problems related to autoimmunity, related to brain function, your mood, lung health, all sorts of things. So we want to be really careful. In general, anybody can overdo fiber. And in my personal experience, I think that was one of my major issues on the vegan diet was I was consuming huge amounts of cellulose in the form of kale salads every day, especially raw kale salads. Just terrible for your gut and also for your thyroid. So I want to mention this book that I read a couple years back when I was on the journey of healing my ulcerative colitis, and I had actually already started the carnivore diet. So this book called The Fiber Menace, looks like a very difficult name to pronounce, this author, Menace, I think. So this is really different because it talks a lot about why fiber is so bad, whereas mainstream medicine tells you to eat as much fiber as you can. So this is a lot of where I get the information, and there's a lot of research studies cited in here as well. So I highly recommend this book if you need to learn more about how fiber affects your colon. So when you have a really sensitive gut, think of it as, I tell my clients this all the time, when you have scraped your knee and you're pulling the scab off and you've got that very delicate skin underneath, that's how you should think of your intestinal lining. It's so delicate. So even if you are not, if you're no longer having symptoms, but you recently did, or you've come from years of gut damage, you just need to be super careful and treat those intestines as though they are fresh new skin. So if you think of it that way, and you imagine yourself eating, broccoli and cellulose that comes from, kale, unless you're really cooking these things very well, they could irritate the gut. So aside from just the fiber actually scratching your intestines, the other piece is endotoxin. So when we have food that is not easily digest, it can sit in the intestines and in the colon and breed. Basically, they ferment and they can cause gas. And that's kind of your first clue, is that the digestive process is not working well. So you can eliminate that by taking out those fibrous foods. So then you might ask, well, how do I get in fruits and vegetables then? The way that I look at this is the main thing that you want from fruits and vegetables, I'm going to say fruit, is carbohydrate. And there are some beneficial plant chemicals, but there's also some that are toxic. And those are going to be more common in the vegetable category. Whereas fruits can have some fiber to it, but they are not as robust as something like leafy greens. So for that reason, yes, there are things that we can get from plant foods. I talk a lot about the glucose and fiber being great for your thyroid and really essential. In my experience, I personally did a zero carb diet for about 2.5 years, and I did find very high cortisol levels, dropping thyroid function, and rising estrogen. And so what has really helped is to reintroduce some fruit. And I did start with really easy berries. blueberries, and those do have fiber, but they're pretty easy for me to digest. And again, that's in a state where I had no symptoms. So if you are symptomatic with your inflammatory bowel disease, you must be very careful with your fiber. And I'm sorry, but your doctor is not going to tell you that. Most doctors are clueless when it comes to colitis. The doctor that I had seen when I was diagnosed said it did not matter what I ate. And I believe that is 100% false. So I'm going to say, if you're fresh on, the inflammatory bowel condition, if you're fresh there and you have symptoms, you need to know fiber. If you are doing better and you've maybe been asymptomatic for a little while, then be cautious, but maybe start with fruits and things that are a little bit easier to digest. So I talk a lot about, different fruits that I consume in my Instagram channel and show you the foods that I eat. So you can check out my Instagram for more food ideas at Healthy with Nicole. And then of course, I will talk more about fiber, when to use it, and what are the safe fibers that actually can be easy to digest and also pull some of those toxins out of your gut, like mushrooms and carrots. So I'm going to talk more about that in the gut healing program. You can learn more about that by going to my website at healthywithnicole.com.